Welcome back to the Middle of the Res Road podcast. This is episode 5, and we have Nelly and Hannah Tibbetts here with us.
And always, I am one of your hosts, Joel Boje from the Boys Fort Reservation. Welcome, everyone, to episode 5 of the Middle of the Res Road podcast.
And yours truly, Charles Smith.
Yes. He's a good guy. This one. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
Just a little intro, you know.
Well, my name is Hannah Tibbetts from Fond du Lac Reservation, and I'm 33 years old. I don't know what else to say. Mental health therapist working at Minoyawan.
How did you get into being a mental health therapist?
Well, I kind of fell into it, I guess. I didn't pick it. Growing up, I wasn't I want to be a mental health therapist when I grow up. I just, I don't know, was in school, and the psychology classes were interesting to me, and mostly because I wanted to learn more about myself, to figure out myself, and somehow I just ended up going into mental health therapy.
That's so weird that you say it just like that, because I was having a conversation with my dad one day. This was a couple of months ago. He's told me this before, but he just told me this 2 months ago, that when he went to the College of St. Scholastica, he was taking psychology classes, and he said for the most part, people take psychology classes to figure out their own stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, then I started thinking about it, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Was there other students that you noticed that were doing the same thing, trying to figure out their own stuff?
I guess I didn't really get close to anyone in school to know enough about them. But originally I started going to school to get that at Fond du Lac, to get the, I was taking all the indigenous courses. I was going to get that certificate or whatever, and because I always knew I wanted to work for the res. But then I transferred over to Riverland Community College when I moved, and they didn't have any of those courses, and so none of my credits transferred. But the only ones that seemed interesting were the psychology ones, since I had to basically start over to get my AA degree, and that's where I took the courses. Was at Riverland.
And to become a mental health therapist at the clinic, it just requires a AA or bachelor's or master's. What do you have now?
A master's.
A master's
Yeah.
in psychology?
In social work.
Social work.
Yeah, clinical social work. And I went to the College of St. Scholastica too.
That's where you got your master's degree?
Yeah. That's where I got my bachelor's and master's.
Let me ask a question. Let's back that up a little bit. You said you fell into that type of work. What motivated you in your life right at that moment where you just figured, I want to go back to school, I want to do something with my life? Or
That's actually a really good question, because I remember exactly what it was. I was working at the clinic doing registration, checking people in for their medical and optical appointments. And I loved that job because I met everyone and I could see everyone, and it was cool. But I was paying for daycare for my daughter, and that was literally all my money would go to rent and then daycare. And I was like, what am I doing? Because I'm paying someone else to raise my daughter. I didn't like that. But then a a lot of people would be coming in there needing help with something, needing assistance with something. And like doing registration, I couldn't do as much as I know I could be doing. And that's what kind of prompted me to go into social work so I could actively be with them doing the stuff that I've been through. Like, I've been through all of that. So,
Little bit of experience then
yeah.
of what you really wanted to do, and that kind of just drove you to seek a better career.
Yeah. Yeah. To get paid more and to also be able to do more with people in the community.
So, becoming a mental health therapist, how has that changed how you parent? So, I suppose you would have parented differently without that kind of background or what you've been exposed to, right?
I think it has, like,
Compared to how you were parented.
oh,
Like, how
yeah.
is it different? Better?
Oh, it's way better. Even I'm not like gonna diss my parents or anything, but like I think me and Nellie have a way more closer relationship, and I pay more attention to her and I listen to her.
That's weird. Yeah, it's like a generational thing. I know it's not for everybody, and Joel, one of the best parents that I know, one of the only dads that I know that has full custody of his kids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unheard of. That's weird. That doesn't happen every day. And then the parent, my own, checking out my own parenting abilities compared to, or capabilities, or how I parent compared to my parents, it's completely different. It's like being more in touch with my emotions and feelings, and making sure that I check with my check with my kids on how they feel. And then even with my own parents, my relationship as I've gotten older, as I've learned how to express myself, my relationships with my parents, both of them, have gotten better.
That's awesome. I guess my life has gotten better since I've learned more of these things too. Like, even like setting boundaries with my parents or like my family, like telling them what I need. Like, I've learned to do that through working with other people.
Communication.
Yeah.
That's so weird, like doing that for the first time, or
Yeah.
first couple of times, telling your parents, hey, I need this and I don't need that.
Yeah.
And they could take offense to that.
Yeah,
they like, especially if they're not understanding where you're coming from with it.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I understand that. Like,
It usually causes fights.
yeah, and it could feel like an attack.
Yeah.
It really can. And I get that, because I used to think that same way when somebody would set boundaries with me. It's like it felt like an attack, like they didn't want anything to do with me. And no, that's just setting healthy boundaries, and
Yeah.
learning to accept those healthy boundaries is a beautiful thing, especially when your relationships could grow
Yeah.
from that.
Nellie, can you set boundaries with your mom?
Not really.
No? You ever learned that yet? One day.
I
I don't know. I don't. She's like scary.
what?
She's a mom.
Well, I can think of one is like if she doesn't want her picture taken or whatever.
No, you still take my
I
picture.
just did the other day, but normally I don't, or post pictures that she don't like, or like I don't go through her phone unless there's a reason. Like, I give her privacy, and I don't interfere with you and your friends.
I mean, I think you know more about my friends than their parents know about me. Like, I tell you more.
Yeah.
Yes, see, and that's communication. That's beautiful that you can talk to your mother about stuff like that. That is actually a very good thing, because you're just making your mother aware is what you're doing, and that's a good relationship, that you have faith in your mom to be able to tell her things.
Yeah, 'cause like I'll have friends that don't tell their mom like anything, and it kind of weirds me out. 'Cause I'm like, you're not like it. I don't know how you can do that. Like just like keep a bunch of stuff from your mom.
Yeah. And that's what my daughter is. When she talks to her mom, she talks to her mom about things that she don't talk to me about because I'm a dad, and she don't feel comfortable with that, and that's okay. It's just like I just tell her, just get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out on your mom. Put it on your mom, or do what you got to do. But there's some things she keeps from me. I know that.
Yeah.
Just being a dad, like but it ain't like bad things either. So
Right.
it's her privacy. Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
She wants that little bit of privacy, a little bit of her own thing, doing her own thing, and I understand that. But I could never go through her phone.
Right.
She just would never allow that.
Yeah.
She would probably try to run away or something.
Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do when my kids get older. I mean, they don't have no phones, but they have tablets. I don't never go through their tablets. Once in a while, I'll check their apps and stuff, but
Yeah.
not too much. They usually have their own privacy too. They're living their own little lives and
Yeah.
figuring out who they are. It's just awesome watching that process.
It is.
So what really, really prompted me to ask Hannah into the podcast today was you've come from a very difficult life.
Yeah.
And I see you picked yourself back up, and you're living this nice, prosperous life with your kids involved and all this stuff. And you're exactly like me and Charlie are, that you're working a program of recovery, and I wanted to shed some light on that because that's what people really need to hear is like how you've been doing that and how you've been focused on that and bettering yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I can talk about that. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring Nellie too. 'Cause at her age, like by the time I was her age, 13, I was already on probation. I'd already had 27 minor consumptions. I already had tried numerous drugs, and was smoking, like I was just going down the wrong path, and I couldn't talk to my parents about anything, and I was constantly in trouble, and up until I was 19, I was using and on probation and whatever, constantly getting in trouble, going to detox. And I got sober by getting a Rule 25. I was homeless, and I went and got a Rule 25 from the county. I was down in Rochester, Minnesota, because they sent me there from a treatment, Liberalis it used to be called. They put me in Liberalis, then I went to a halfway house, got kicked out of the halfway house for fraternizing. And I was homeless for about a year. Then I went and got that Rule 25 and just waited to go to treatment. But I thought I was going to die out there because I was really sick, and just being a female and being homeless, people knowing where you're at, not having anywhere to go, having to rely on people sometimes, and they weren't good people a lot of the times. There's, I don't know. It was just crazy, and I went kind of crazy too because of the drinking, and because I was pretty chronic alcoholic. But so I went to treatment, and first I went to detox, and then from detox to the hospital, and then from the hospital back to detox, and then I walked to the treatment, and they tried telling me that they couldn't take me that day because it was a Sunday. But I was like, you got to take me. It's like, I can't spend another night out here. Like, I'll either die or I'll drink again and end up dying, or, so they let me in. And so I was there for about a year at that treatment. So it was pretty hardcore.
So when, you know, doing all those things, 27 minor consumptions, getting kicked out of halfway houses and treatment,
Yeah.
is that all a result of trauma or anger, all of it?
Probably all of it. I'm not exactly sure what prompted me to try drugs. The first time I tried anything, it was weed. But like my older sisters got me high, so they were already doing stuff. And then I would be huffing and whatever else. Like I shouldn't even like be here, I don't think, because of the stuff I did as a young kid. Like with that, like with seeking to be high or drunk, a lot of different things happened, traumatic things that just kept it going. More shame, self-hatred, you know, just wanting to escape. But I'd have like little periods of sobriety as a kid. They didn't last long. I just started working on a lot of this stuff that I went through as a kid recently, like within the past 4 years.
So it's been like a new healing journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I was thinking about it. I don't think I would have been like emotionally strong enough to even talk about any of that until now. And I have 14 years. of sobriety.
14 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, you got clean right after I did.
Yeah. In 2008.
And then you had that accident, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in that treatment for like a year. I was working at Savers in Rochester. That was one of my favorite jobs. But then I got pregnant with Nellie during that time, fraternizing
At Savers?
again. No, not
No,
at
just kidding.
Savers.
I'm teasing.
Actually,
I'm teasing you.
at the mall, I was job searching. This is how Nellie was conceived, but like that's it. So they kicked me out. I didn't even know that I was pregnant, but they kicked me out of treatment because my insurance ran up and because they wanted me. I found this sober living house to live in, but they didn't want me in there because it was co-ed. And but it was cheap and it was a room. And I was like, they thought I had a issue with men or whatever. So they were like, no, they wanted me to go to the Dorothy Day House, which is a homeless shelter in Rochester. And I didn't even go there when I was homeless because it wasn't safe there. Like it's not safe there for women and or any vulnerable person. But
At the time.
yeah, at the time at Dorothy Day, yeah, because they didn't lock the doors or nothing, and they had multiple people in rooms. Yeah, so you're either gonna get robbed or you're gonna get touched or something.
Yep.
Like, so
They didn't lock the doors?
no, none of the rooms had doors on them even, so anyone can.
Go wherever
Yeah,
they want in there.
yeah, and there's only
that's-
one
Jeez.
staff. Yeah. So I never stayed there. I'm like, I'd rather take my chances outside.
So this was while you were in recovery.
Oh,
In the beginning of your recovery then.
this was when, when they kicked me out because they wanted me to stay at Dorothy Day instead of staying at the sober living place that I had found, and my funding was up. So they kicked me out because I wasn't following their recommendations. But I stayed at that sober living place. And I stayed there for probably about like 6 months, and then I moved in once there was a bed available at the all women's sober living house. I moved into there. So then, and I went to meetings every day, like multiple times a day. I'd walk to meetings, and I walked to work because I didn't have a car for the longest time. But I went to meetings every day. I got a sponsor. I was doing the steps. I broke up with her dad because her dad was still using, and ended up in jail, actually. So I was like, I'm not hanging out with you anymore. You know, I quit hanging out with people who were using. I quit talking to them. Yeah, so then the treatment let me come back and graduate before I moved back up here to come home and have my baby.
And it's super cool. I just want to say it's super cool that you knew that she had 14 years. Or it's
On her 15th year,
Yeah.
she knew that. Like, that's amazing. Like, so,
Yeah.
it's, you know, like I could see you're very proud of your mom's recovery, and that's what's up.
Yeah, she's been coming to meetings with me since she was 3 days old. Sometimes she even tells me that she's like, I want to go to a meeting. I feel like I need to go to a meeting. Yeah. But she just goes to hang out with her friend. She don't participate in the meetings.
We go in a room and we just hang out in there for the whole time.
There you go. Get to go to a meeting, go hang out with your friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that.
Fellowshipping.
Fellowshipping.
fellowship.
There you go.
Yeah.
Grandma will always ask, are
Yeah.
we going to fellowship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's been asking me for like the last month, maybe 2 months, asking me to check out a meeting.
Yeah.
I finally took her to one like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
And
really?
she got to see it. She's like, what do you do at these meetings? I'm like, do you just want to go and check it out? So I was at the talking circle on Sundays
Oh,
at One Roof, and she loved it.
she wants to go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird, you know, she's like 6 years old. I mean, I don't talk to her much about recovery, or I share with her what I can
Yeah.
at that age.
Yeah.
But it was the first time she's always hearing that I'm going to a meeting, and she finally asked. So brought her. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I think we need more of that. I know we need more of that. Like, even without recovery or anything, just like talking with each other.
Communication barriers.
Yeah.
Like, one more thing I wanted to ask you is you know, you kind of explained a little bit of your story. How long were you in recovery before you started school?
Well, I started school at Fond du Lac when I moved back up here. So I was pregnant with Nellie when I first started to get my AA. And then so then I had Nellie. I was almost done with my AA degree when I got into that car accident. Where I went off the bridge, and then I had severe injuries and whatever. And that's kind of crazy too, because Nellie was supposed to be with me that day. But she was up all night pulling at her ear and crying and whatever. So I asked my mom if she could bring her to the doctor. I called the clinic and got a same-day appointment. And it was the same time as my death and dying class, which is weird too. But it's weird too because I wasn't even really talking to my mom, and I was bringing Nellie to school with me because I had no one to watch her, and I wasn't really talking to my mom, but I thought Nellie was, you know, sick. So I asked her, even though I was resentful at her, and she brought her, and after the class, that's when I got in that accident. So if that wouldn't have happened, Nellie would have been with me, and she didn't even have an ear infection.
So I would have died.
Probably Nellie. Yeah. Because I went off the bridge.
Yeah, made the papers and everything.
Yeah. What's even stranger, too, like I was bringing a car seat for a lady that was at school who she needed a car seat. So I had this car seat in my car that wasn't strapped in or anything. And I guess that went flying out of my car somehow. But when they came and when the paramedics came and they were tearing the roof off and taking me out, I was screaming for Nellie because I got knocked out and whatever, but I was screaming for Nellie and thought she was with me because she was with me all the time. She's always with me. And they were looking and I could hear them talking about that car seat, that there's no baby in it. So I was freaking out. And they finally called my mom and they told me that she was okay. She was with my mom, and it was just like a flood of, I just relaxed then. And then I started feeling like the pain and whatever from my injuries. But so after that, I moved away from here. That's when I went to Riverland. I moved to Austin. It's southern Minnesota. But I moved down there to get away from my family. Just because of, the things that were all going on with how people were after my accident and whatever. Because it was just me and Nellie. It's just been me and Nellie her whole life. And I was struggling with the injuries and pain, but also because I had to get a morphine drip and had to have surgery on my neck, and then I had a TBI, and it's like all the thoughts of using came back as soon as I felt that morphine drip. So I had a sponsor, and I was telling her the whole time, my thoughts and everything, and thankfully, I didn't relapse or anything, but that was tough. But I think I was 2.5 years sober when that happened. So then I started school in Riverland, and then I got my AA there. Moved back home again and started working at the clinic for registration. And then I did that for 2 years, and then I went back to school. So I've been out of school for 5 years now.
And you maintained your recovery. You went to school. You moved, with all those injuries, TBI.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
And did all of that by yourself.
Yeah, with help though too.
Well, that's huge though. The lifestyle that you came from.
Yeah.
That gives me hope for them people out there that are possibly in the same position, same state of mind, or the same situation that you were in, that there is hope, that there is a way out. And if you just work hard and you follow your heart and your desires and your goals, I mean, those are huge goals that you put in front of yourself, to be a good mom, to be a good human being, and you did, you're doing it. You're still doing it 14 years later.
So with all those life experiences, because not everybody lived a life like you. I know some of it when we were really close back in the day, and then getting to know you again. How does that impact the way you work with your clients, kids, community? That life experience, how does that impact? How does that change? How does that make you better at what you do?
I think it makes me better at what I do because I've had similar experiences, and I know what, if it is a barrier thing or any sort of obstacle thing, but I think just knowing what they're experiencing, I don't know, because with school, it's they teach you whatever. They have a curriculum, they're teaching you whatever it is they have to, but none of that even compares to actual real experience. If people know I'm in recovery, I think that opens them up to talk to more about it. If they know too, like I'm not judgmental, I don't have any biases or whatever towards anything like that. But I don't know. I think just that real personal experience, I don't even have to tell them. I think people just know, because I knew, like, I've been to a lot of therapists my whole life. Like, I've been forced to see them. I've been trying to find ones that fit for me, that, you know, I felt comfortable with. And most of them I didn't, because I knew they had no idea what I was even talking about. They have no personal experience with it. And that can be really frustrating when you're trying to find connection with somebody and they don't have it. But like with kids, with working with kids, I've had like a lot of healing, like personal healing while working with them, because a few times kids have came and they've almost said exactly the stuff that I was going through as a kid. Like the same situations, the same type of things happening in their lives. And it's like something will hit me and they're telling me about it. And I think, like, what did I need to hear as a kid when that was going on with me? Like, what do I wish somebody would have said to me about it? And then it's like me not even talking. It's like our spirits are connecting. It's been like the most beautiful thing, like the most rewarding thing, is working with the kids.
I understand everything you just said, and that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like where you just that bond, you know, that bind that you have with the kids just becomes stronger. That bond with the kids, and that's helping you heal.
Yeah.
At the same time, I totally understand that's spirituality, or it's just something that you can't see, but you feel it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know they feel it too.
Yep.
I know they do. Like, I don't know. That's been the most rewarding thing too, and to watch them after. Like some of them I've said, like, you're going to have a good life. Like, none of this stuff that has happened to you is going to affect you, like, because you're working on it and you know the truth about it. Like, a lot of the stuff that's happened isn't their fault. It had nothing to do with them. As you know, it doesn't have to be a part of them. It doesn't have to weigh them down, because we're working on it. Like, they're gonna be able to have a good life, and I see it now. Like, I see them having better lives. Like, and as kids, like, I wish like I had one person as a kid that was understanding and that would talk to me about stuff and would not judge me or blame me or get mad at me. Like, I think that's, like, we all need someone like that, even as adults.
Yes.
I think that's like a generational thing. We were just talking about this the other day.
Yeah,
Sympathy versus empathy.
Yeah.
Like the big difference, like you can sympathize. Oh, that sucked.
Yeah.
That sucked. Too bad that happened to you. Lucky it didn't happen to me. Like basically saying that, and then people just sitting with you and experiencing it with you for a second or 5 minutes, an hour. That empathy is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Just sitting with you, allowing you to express yourself.
Yeah.
And not having to say anything to them, but they know you're listening.
Yeah.
And that's what, Charlie kind of explained that to me the other day. And here I am 4.5 years into my recovery, and it's like I'm learning new things.
Yeah.
And that's just that's just awesome that I have really good people around me, and I really like what you said, about the connection thing, because and like as you're saying that, it's like, man, I've said that before. What did I need when I was a kid? What did I need? And everything you said was exactly what I was thinking about. Everything I needed. I needed someone to listen. I needed someone to play with. I needed someone to understand me.
Yeah.
I needed someone that I could openly be vulnerable with and show feelings.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that, back in the mid 80s.
Mid-80s. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't like that growing up
No.
either in the 90s, man.
No.
And it just wasn't, and it's like, I was kind of grown up on being told, like, you're a man, don't cry.
Yeah.
Or, and I'm not saying anything, that's just the way it was when I was young, is, shut up or I'll give you something to cry about.
Right.
And not, so right away you had to mask emotions, and that's a trauma too. And that probably goes way back. And today I'm glad I'm aware of that, and I understand that's just how we heal traumas.
Yeah.
And how we heal pasts, and how we look at things today.
So, like, what are the next steps for Hannah and Nellie? Like, the next big steps in life?
New goals, yes. What
Yeah.
are the new goals?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out like new goals for me, cause I do like to be busy, and like now after finishing school and being in this position now for a while, I'm like, okay, I got this career now, and we're more comfortable now. Still living paycheck to paycheck basically, but it's like in a lot better place than we've been in, and we have 4 cats. So like we have pets and we have a dog, but I like kind of found myself getting not bored, but like almost depressed, 'cause I'm like, this is it. This is how my life is going to be. Like, I need to have like different goals, because it's something to be working towards. Otherwise, I just am kind of lazy, and I don't know what the right word, restless, I guess.
Private practice in the future?
That's, something. I was thinking about getting my PhD maybe. I still got to get my state license. I'm licensed through the tribe right now. And honestly, I don't really care too much about that difference. There's really no difference in licensure, except like I can only use the Fond du Lac license for Fond du Lac. But that's the only place I want to be anyways. Like I've always only wanted to work for my community.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a goal.
Yeah.
That's a huge goal.
Yeah. Well, actually, like one of my goals that I think too doesn't get talked about enough is my own mental health, and like that spiritual growth. 'Cause now I'm at a place where I can finally work on these things that have haunted me my whole life and has caused issues in all my relationships. I can finally work on them. So I'm in therapy now again, and actually working on my own stuff. So like I think that's a goal like me and Nellie both have. Like she's recently started therapy too. So like spiritual growth, our mental health.
Therapy's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I love therapy. Like, I had my session today at 3:00, and it was like the best session so far. So therapy, the weird thing is that you still get it kind of. I get it once in a while from other people when I tell them about therapy. Never in the rooms, never at meetings, but outside of the meetings, I'll get the funny looks like, man, you're crazy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like that stigma.
Yeah.
It's weird that stigma is still kind of present in culture outside of anyone doing any type of transformation or healing or, change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, one more question before we wrap it up. How does one go about getting services for their children
Oh,
through the reservation?
through the reservation.
Yes.
Well,
Or just any services. Say you want to get your kid any evaluation or just something of that nature, like where maybe they start, like not doing well in school or not, and maybe something's going on and the parents don't see that.
yeah.
So it's like where would you recommend to start, like as a I would say kind thing to do, a loving thing to do, a caring thing to do, just because you love your children.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good message to put out there.
I guess the first thing I would do and would suggest for anyone to do is to talk to their kids about it first before like sending referrals or getting other people involved first, and see what the kids think about it, and maybe that too, maybe they've been wanting you to ask them like how they've been doing, and that's just an opportunity to talk about it. But then after that, there's tons of different resources for mental health, and I know there's like waiting lists too everywhere. But even just to get on the waiting list, because sometimes like just knowing you're gonna go, knowing you're like gonna be set up to go might be enough to keep someone going, But for the res, it's kind of different because you have to be eligible, and there's different eligibility things, and the eligibility line on the res that can. If you just call the clinic, they'll send you to the eligibility line. Otherwise, there's like HDC around here, and people can just call them up, or have the schools. The schools can help too, send referrals.
And sometimes what my therapist has shared, you just, ask your, like Hannah, so that's probably the best thing to do is ask your kids, talk to your kids and develop a plan. But if they want to go to therapy, my therapist said, yeah, you just call us up and we'll get them a therapist. If you want them to see the same see me, she can come, your kids can come see me. And then, because you already have a relationship with that therapist, I don't know if that's how that worked with you. That's how it worked at the therapy that I go to.
Yeah.
Birch and Pine.
Oh, okay.
Free advertisement. Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I'll do like family therapy with families, with parents with their kid. If the parent involvement is the number one thing though for therapy to really be effective with younger children. Because normally with younger children, there's only issues because there's issues with the parenting. Not saying but the parenting styles or techniques might just need to try something different or get them more involved in some aspect of some of it. So like with younger children, parent involvement you have to be involved.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a good message to share, a very good message to pass.
Hannah, can I ask you one question before we get done?
Yeah.
So, you like put the last 14 years in 48 minutes only.
Yeah.
Can we have you come back again and do another follow-up episode or another episode, because you live an interesting life. You're doing recovery things all the time. You have your best friend that, she has her own story.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get her on there with you.
Yeah.
And then you got the ink.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cross
That's
addiction.
yeah. I feel that.
So
Yeah.
you want to do it?
Yeah,
again?
I will. Yeah. And I was actually telling my friend that she should share her story.
And
Yeah.
we can bring you both on.
Okay.
That'd be
'cause-
okay too,
That'd be
because then
awesome.
you could probably bounce off one another, and,
Yeah.
and it'll actually make a pretty good episode.
Yeah. Because she's a big reason why I've had fun in recovery. She's the only reason I've had fun in recovery. It's because of her.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's good.
I still use that word.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay, there we go. We got the verbal, so it's already in writing.
Whoa.
No, I'm just kidding.
And as we say in Ojibwe, good Ojibwe salutation. If you guys didn't know, in Ojibwe, Nelly, you can remember this one. It's really easy. It's super easy. Weweni Sana. Weweni Sana in Ojibwe means take care. It literally means live a good life. Weweni Sana Ginawa.
Oh, Giga Waba Min Minawa.
Oh.